With us live now from Los Angeles is Democratic strategist Carolyn Heldman. And I want to thank you for being up with us as we witness history on the floor of the House there. It's hard to believe that this bust-up actually happened within the Republican Party, right? It doesn't even involve Democrats yet. What do you make of the chaos that unfolded?
Well, I think it probably is an indicator of what's going to happen for the next 2 years. I don't know why Kevin McCarthy would want this job, given what is happening in the rank and file of his own party. Also, the fact that what's going to happen the next 2 years is not about policy. The only power that Republicans have, because they control the House, but Democrats control the White House and the Senate, the only power Republicans have is the power to subpoena, so lots of committees, and also the power to say no to policy. So Kevin McCarthy is taking the gavel of the speakership at a time when his party is in disarray, and frankly, the Republicans don't have the power to actually pass policy.
Now, Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer had a blunt warning right out of the gate for the Speaker, saying Speaker Kevin McCarthy's dream job could turn into a nightmare for the American people. To get the votes, he surrendered to demands of a fringe element of the Republican Party. Kevin McCarthy's concessions to the extremists in his party make it far more likely that the MAGA Republican-controlled House will cause a government shutdown or a default with devastating consequences to our country. Now for the fun part, Carolyn, some Republicans actually agree with him there.
Yes, because that's absolutely what's going to happen. So what we should expect is a lot of wasted taxpayer dollars on investigations of the Biden administration that shouldn't be happening, laptops and such. We'll see some decent investigations like, hey, what happened with the withdrawal in Afghanistan? We actually do need to get to the bottom of that. And we're also going to see a lot of obstructionism when it comes to the debt ceiling increases, which happen, about once a year, sometimes more often, have happened almost 100 times in American history. They're all of a sudden going to become politicized and used as essentially a weapon against Kevin McCarthy. Also, the concession of moving from having 5 members possibly unseat a speaker to 1 member gives individual members inordinate power over the speakership. It's really not a good position for Kevin McCarthy, and I would argue for the Republican Party.
But perhaps it's not a good position for Democrats either, though. I mean, I think we need to make clear that the GOP holdouts, right, they had great success. To some of their voters, they actually look like heroes. You know as well as I do, they raised a lot of money for their campaigns. Is this not something that even Democrats should worry about? And not just because of the conduct of Republicans, but perhaps more radical elements even within the Democratic Party at this point.
Oh, I couldn't agree with you more, Paula. I think this is bad for the American public because these are essentially folks who don't think that government should be working, and they're in government, and we or some members of the U.S. have elected them, and so yes, these are people who are fundamentally against government doing what it should be doing. And I think the Biden administration did a fantastic job showing us how government can work for good. In fact, a paradigm shift, I would argue, from Ronald Reagan talking about starving the beast and government is the problem. Somewhere in the middle, there are a lot of moderate Republicans who actually want to govern. And yes, Kevin McCarthy, in seeking the speakership and having to make those concessions, has really emboldened and empowered obstructionists who simply don't want to work for the American public the way that our founding fathers devised the system to work.
Yeah, that whole phrase, right? Burn the house down. They're not kidding. They don't want government to work at this point. That's your opinion.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's evident. We just, how many tens of thousands of dollars have we wasted in the past week? 4 days of negotiations for something that we were pretty sure is going to happen anyway. I think that is a sign of what's to come, which is that the business of the entire government, not just the House, will be essentially shut down or will grind to a halt because of a small number of obstructionists who shouldn't be in government, frankly, because if you're not there to govern, what are you there to do?
Yeah, and then this will be up to the voters, though, in at least 2 years, who will get to decide this. I mean, many people have already said it, right? The 2024 cycle has already started. Carolyn Heldman, thanks so much. Really appreciate your insights.
Thanks, Paula.
Now, the